Hello and welcome to Stylist Chats with Creatives. Today on the podcast, I'm chatting to Jodie Biddle. She is a West Yorkshire-based fashion stylist, and we first met, I think it was 5, 6, 7 years ago.
I was the same. I was trying to remember. I think it was about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
We were crossed over at a studio I was freelancing at.
Yes.
You were full-time.
I was senior stylist there, yeah.
Ah.
Yes, yeah. And then, we worked doing all those good jobs together.
Oh, yeah. Or the mannequin and still life. It was like constant, like, guys, we've got to put like 5 on set. Let's go. The kids were.
But you were always great. You were very speedy. You were really good to work with. You always got the numbers done.
I think it's just sheer, like, having to do sheer volume a long time ago.
Yeah.
You just get into the habit of it.
Exactly.
And there's, once you've seen around a season of clothing, not much really changes.
No, definitely
and then you're like, okay, so we've got vest tops again.
Yeah, definitely. Because that feels like a lifetime ago.
Doesn't it just?
I feel like we should explain the other noise.
The gurgling, yeah.
Because we have, hello baby, I have Rory with me today, and he's my 5-month-old baby. So if you hear lots of gurgling, that's him, isn't it? And Trooper the dog, he's probably going to make an appearance as well.
Yeah, I think so. He's got his Kong, but he's happy. So when did you go to uni?
I did. So I'm not from Yorkshire originally. So I am from Southampton. That's where my family live. So I went to university there and did a fashion writing and culture degree. I was thinking about this because when we finally got a date to do this, I was like, right, I need to try because I'm so bad with dates. So I'm like, how many years ago was that? And like, what year did that actually happen? So I was trying to figure it out, like the timeline of things. So I was actually working full time at British Gas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was in their high-level complaints team. I look back at that time and think, how did I do that job? It was like a time when you couldn't tell people you worked for British Gas because you would get like so much abuse. It was like a really bad time. And I was in their complaints department, which was wild. And I was dealing with like really angry customers, the ombudsman, solicitors, politicians, and I'm like 19 doing this job, and I'm a big believer in like things that are meant to happen and meant to be. So I was doing that job randomly because all my friends were selling gas and electric for them, and I was working in retail, and I didn't want to work weekends anymore. So they were like, "Come and work at British Gas." So I was like, "Yeah, sound," because I just wanted to earn money at the time. So then I was doing my interview, and the guy doing my interview, he was like, "I think you'd be better suited in the complaints department." And I was like, "Okay." So I got doing that, and it was actually all right. But what I'm trying to say is, when I was doing that, I realised that I wanted to do something like more and creative, and I didn't want to do that forever. Yeah. So I went and applied for university, and I got into Solent University doing fashion, writing and culture, and that was a really like diverse degree. Like, it was the history of fashion, it was fashion journalism, there was a styling module, which actually funnily enough, I actually didn't really enjoy at the time. There was loads of different things. So yeah, I did that. And they were really good because they really made you focus on getting a lot of like work experience.
Yeah.
And because Southampton isn't far from London as well, like it's like an hour on the train and stuff, it was quite easy to do. So I did loads of like internships and like work placements whilst I was at university. And I realised what I wanted to do was I wanted to be a journalist. Like, I wanted to write. That was actually where I always saw myself like going. So I did lots of internships. I did like You Magazine, Fabulous Magazine, Girl Talk, Sugar, like all of them, like in the fashion cupboard or on the editorial desk. But it was at a time where print wasn't doing very well. It was like everything was going like on more bloggy and more online. So I was really struggling like to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So I went back full time at British Gas just because didn't live at home. I needed to pay the bills, and it was at the time when you did interning for free. So, which you're not allowed to do anymore. They have to get paid now. But it was a time when you would literally be expected to work your ass off for free. And we kind of just did it. And I look back on it and I think, what the hell? But we did. So I wasn't really getting anywhere. So I went back full time at British Gas. And then I went on a hen do and I met a girl on the hen do, and she was the studio manager for Burberry. Yeah, so I was really lucky that my boyfriend of the time, his brother's wife, and who I'm still really good friends with, she had done my degree as well, so she was in the fashion world. So I went on her hen do and I met Lauren, who was the studio manager of Burberry, and she was like, I'll get you in. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah. I was like, I've never done any studio work before. And she was like, yeah, it's fine, don't worry. So she got me in freelance as a stylist assistant in the Burberry studios, and it was paid, and I was just like, this is buzzing. So basically I was working 4 days at British Gas doing these crazy weeks where I worked a Saturday and I worked really long days, which meant I could have 2 days off in the week. So I was doing like 6 days a week, 2 days at Burberry and then the other days at British Gas. And then something crazy happened, that they made the whole building redundant at British Gas. So I had been there nearly 5 years at the time, but obviously part-time, full-time, because I did it whilst I was at uni. So they based my redundancy package on being there full-time for 5 years. So I got a really nice lump sum. And then I applied for an internship at Net-a-Porter, and I got it, and that was a paid one, but one of the criteria was that you had to live in London, like you couldn't commute.
Oh, really?
Hello, noisy boy. So I left Southampton, broke up with my boyfriend, and I moved to London, and I could only do that because I had the lump sum redundancy money. And this is what I mean about like the right things happening at the right time for me. When I look back at my journey, I feel like I was meant to go on that hen do to meet Lauren, to go to Burberry. That's how I got the internship at Net-a-Porter. I could only do that internship because I had the lump sum of money from the redundancy. Do you know what I mean? So then I went to Net-a-Porter and I moved to London, and I was a studio styling assistant at Net-a-Porter for 6 months.
Nice.
Which was amazing. The product, the clothes. Incredible. I loved that. And then towards the end of my internship, I was like, God, what am I going to do? I don't want to go back to Southampton. I love living in London. I love doing this. But it was only a 6-month internship. And then, again, really lucky, a stylist left the styling team just as my internship was coming to an end, and I applied for it and I got it.
Oh, nice.
So then, it's a bit of a long-winded story, but I'll try and do it as quick as I can. And I was living in this awful house in London. It was like an 11-bedroomed house. I was the only girl living in it. I used to lock my door at night and it was really lonely time. But one of the girls at Net-a-Porter, she was looking for a flatmate, and so we got a flat together. So I just felt like that time in my life, everything lined up. I had a great job. I had this super cool flat in Peckham, which was amazing. I had an incredible circle of friends. And then when I was like, right, this is it. This is me. I'm going to live in London. This is where I'm going to spend my life. I'm going to work in the fashion industry down here. I went to Notting Hill Carnival and I met Adam, my husband, and he is from Huddersfield, and he had come down for Carnival for the weekend. And I met him, and you know when you just know, the vibe was just, nothing happened, but you could just tell that something was there. But he already had a ticket to go travelling, so he was going to Australia. So this was in August, he was going to Australia in the December, and he wasn't sure when he was going to be back, essentially. So I was like, right, okay, fine. So in the time of that, we had 2 dates. And that was it. That's all we'd really organised. So we saw each other twice, and then he went to Australia, and then I went to Thailand for 2 weeks with my best friend, and she had been backpacking, and I was like, oh God, this is so much fun. Like, I love this. Like, I love meeting all these people. I love being in a different place. Came back to England, and then me and Adam were talking every day, all day, messaging. And then he was just like, I think that you just need to come and meet me in South America. Like, when I go there, we should just travel together. So I was just like, okay. So I got another job. Got a bar job, and I worked in this like back-end boozer in Peckham, which I loved again. Saved money because you couldn't like save money on what you were earning in London. Like you needed another income. So I saved up, and then in the November, so we hadn't seen each other for 9 months, and we'd only had 2 dates. I left my flat, I left my friends, I left my job. And I got on a plane to Buenos Aires. My dad was like, "You're going where? With who?" And I was like, "I know, this is wild." And then I met him at the airport, and we like fell on the floor from like hugging and kissing, and we got a huge round of applause from everyone in the arrival lounge. And then we spent the next 2 years traveling the world together.
Oh.
And then after travelling, which was incredible, like the best time ever, he didn't want to live in London. He had a house in Huddersfield, and we came back and lived here. And it's perfect, as you know, like as a destination for our job, because you're near Manchester, you're near Leeds, like...
Yeah.
So we got back, and I started freelancing at a few studios, but I kind of wanted a bit of, after having like no financial security for like 2 years travelling, kind of wanted to go full time somewhere. So that's when I got the job at 77. That's how we're back to here. Yeah, so that's kind of like the story.
That's incredible, because I think you're so right about the internships. They weren't paid. And also freelancing at that point, we were saying before, you weren't paid very much.
No, exactly.
Maybe like 60, 70, 80 pound a day. It wasn't a lot.
No.
And then now internships are, I think they have to pay you
like
something,
you're not
don't
allowed to not pay them. Like, I mean, luckily the Net-a-Porter one, it was paid, but I remember it was 700. That was £700 a month. My rent for my room in that horrible house was £700.
Yeah.
So like it was like paid, but like you're living in London, you need money. Yeah. So that's where the redundancy money like saved my, like that's what I mean. Like I feel like not like your life is like mapped out, but I do think the right things happen at the right time, and it's like being brave enough to make that decision and to do it, you know. And I've always kind of been that person that will kind of just do it, like follow my feelings, and generally it's kind of worked out.
Yeah, I'd say it's worked out pretty well, because you're cuddling a little bab, and then
what would have happened if like you'd got there and you didn't like each other? I was like, I don't know, I just didn't think of that, and luckily that didn't happen. And travelling is an intense way to get to know each other.
Yeah, like you're in it, and you're like
each other at your best and your worst.
Yeah, that's it. So like you're either going to really like each other or not at all.
Be incredible. And luckily for us, I mean, we've been together 10 years ago that I met him on the airport floor in Buenos Aires. So luckily it's paid off. But and that's why I'm up here, because otherwise I would have definitely never have moved up here. I would have just been living in London.
Yeah.
Totally different life. Yeah.
And I do think the creative world up here has gotten bigger, like the photography studios, there's more
100%.
TV work. Like,
definitely.
It's definitely grown in that 10 years.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like, and before, because I'm from near Peterborough, I was commuting to Milton Keynes, Leicester, you know, southeast kind of, and there wasn't much. And people would be like, "You coming to London?" I'm like, "Not for 70 quid."
Exactly.
Like, no, it didn't even cover your train.
What I really don't like is that if sometimes like they will pay like a stylist from London more money just because they're from London. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's so bad because there's so much talent in the north, and we're such a great, strong creative industry. But like, oh no, they want a London stylist.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, doesn't it?
Are you kidding? Like,
yeah.
Okay, fine.
It's almost like that's got weight to it.
Yeah, and it's like, why? So but no, so I love living up here. So then we met at the studio where we worked together. And then I was there for over a year, maybe a tiny bit longer, and then I left to go freelance again.
Yeah, because I remember seeing you at 77, and then we all kind of like drifted off.
Yeah.
And freelancing, especially up in the Northwest, is a weird one because you'll be like I was saying to you before we pressed record, I walked into a studio the other week and was like, hi.
Yeah,
and
it's such a small world.
It's so small.
I love that. It's like I did a shoot recently and I looked at the call sheet and I didn't know anyone on it. And, you know, I was like, that's weird because normally you'll know like the hair and makeup artist or the photographer or someone, but I didn't know. And I was like, that is weird because it is such a small world.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I took the jump again to go freelance after having been full-time for a year. That was another weird moment where I was working for that company and another company had called them saying that they needed a stylist. That company contracted me out to this other client for a week of work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was weird. The manager at the time was like, oh, do you mind going and do this week's worth of work? It's in Huddersfield. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's amazing. I didn't even really know, like, there was many studios in Huddersfield. I'll go do that. Turns out it was literally a studio down the road from where I lived.
That's so good.
So good. I could walk there. And then I got really friendly with the team there and they were like, have you ever thought about going freelance? And I was like, well, I would love to. And they were like, if you go freelance, we'll book you.
Amazing.
So then I was like, okay, so that's another crazy thing. So that's what made me go freelance as well.
Sometimes you need that shove.
Just a guarantee that you're going to get some jobs. And like they were shooting really regularly at the time. And he was like, yeah, I'll just book you whenever we need someone. So then I had to go back into that company and be like, you know that job you sent me on? Like, I'm actually like going to leave to go freelance and work with them. But that was fine. So yeah, and then since then, I've been hello Trooper. Yes, he's been. So yeah, and then from then, and then I joined Boss as well, and then I got represented by them as well, which was great. And that was about 5 years ago.
Yeah, because I think there's quite a nice mix. I think people maybe don't realise that some of us are represented by agencies, some are not. Mm-hmm. I've since just taken on a non-exclusive agent, so I'm with like a non-exclusive.
That's good.
So like there's a complete hybrid now of people doing lots of different ways of freelancing.
Yeah.
You don't have to be with an agent or not, or you know. And I think the agents are a little bit more relaxed now as well. Like, say if you were to cover a job of mine, they wouldn't poach it and stuff like that. Yeah. It's kind of, everyone's a little bit more relaxed. Whereas when I feel like 5 years ago, they were like, no, this person's agency and this person's freelance. And some people preferred agents, some
people didn't. Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be honest, like, I've been with Boss like, I think, 5-6 years, and I love being with an agency. Like, I love that they do all my admin, they do all my invoicing, which is amazing. Like, you get paid on time, and it kind of feels like you've got someone that has your back, you know, which is nice. And if you need to have an awkward conversation with a client about pay, you don't have to. Your agent does it, and what's the matter? You're getting tired. And I really love that. And I'm really good friends with my booker. And I do feel like it was a really good decision for me, definitely.
I think as well I'm sure being a parent makes that easier. Like, having somebody who's got your back and sorting out all your invoices and everything.
Oh my God, yeah.
Just definitely. That's one less hat to wear.
One less hat to wear, and that is exactly it. And like, I am not very good with like admin and invoicing. Like, I've spoken about it before. Like, I actually have like a bit of a fear of, I'm one of those people that will like leave it and like be worrying about it at night and like it keeping me up. And I know the best thing to do is to do it.
Yeah.
But to sit me down to do it for some reason, like, it's so stressful. So the fact that they do that for me, it's a big tick. And like you said, like when you're a mum, and I'm a mum of 2, I've got Billy, she's 3, and Rory, who's 5 months, like time is precious, and I'd much rather be spending time with them than sat at my laptop chasing for invoices and like it's just so for me it's definitely a good decision.
I think the worst thing of being self-employed is chasing for invoices. Just like, it's so, you must have to put that like accountant hat on and kind of pretend to be an accountant and be like, excuse me, please can you pay me?
And I tell you what, like, an accountant hat is not for me. Like, I don't even have a maths GCSE, so it's
ditto girl, ditto.
For me, being with Boss was the right decision, and especially like being on maternity leave and like coming back from that, it feels nice to have somebody to help you get back into the world of work again, you know, rather than having to knock on the doors yourself. Somebody can do that for you, you know. So
do you feel that your maternity leave has impacted your work at all, in the sense of like, I always get this fear that people are going to forget about me after a holiday.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it has made me go back. So with Billy, I just started doing my keeping in touch days. So I started doing them with Billy when she was 4 months old. But with Rory, I think he was 8 weeks old or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just because I found it so hard after Billy to get busy again. Because it's not like you get forgotten about, but at the end of the day, like, work needs to be done, and there is always another stylist.
Yeah.
Like, to do it, you know? So I did find it quite stressful after, like, coming back properly when she was 9 months. That's when I properly went back to work. So with Rory, I've just not been like that at all. And luckily, like, we're very lucky in the way that I'm not going back full time.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe you've gone back so early. I'm like, yeah, but it's not every day. Like, it'll be 1 day a week. It might be going forward 2 days a week. Who knows? I'm not leaving him 5 days with the childminder, you know? So that makes me feel a little bit less mum guilt, maybe. Yeah. And also it's better for my mental health to have a good work-life balance, because when I'm not busy, and when we've spoken about this, when you're sat at home and you've got no jobs booked in, you know, that's not a nice place to be either. So
that's a scary bit. That gives me the like Sunday scaries. Like I get like, oh my God, did I like smell the last time I was in there?
Exactly.
Did I say something I shouldn't have done?
Exactly.
And it's mostly that product hasn't arrived, or there's just not enough to shoot, or you know. But I think being open with each other about feeling that makes you feel less alone.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh great, it's not just me, it's actually like all of us are feeling a little bit like,
it's like when people are always posting on Instagram that they're super busy, and you're sat at home and you're not, and you're like, oh my God. But actually, like, that picture is a picture from like 2 weeks ago, you know, but people liked it. And I get it. It's good to look like you're really, really busy. But I'm just not like, just be on it. Like, that's just not how I am. Like, if I'm not busy and someone's like, have you been busy? I'll be like, do you know what? I'm not busy. Rather than like, being a bit like, what's the word? Not dishonest, but do you know what I mean? Like, elaborate the truth a little bit. Like, just say, you know? We're all in it together.
Yeah, and I do think sometimes I definitely find Instagram sometimes brings up feelings of like jealousy. Yeah. And you're like, hold on a minute, I should just be happy for these people that they've got all this like
that's nice. But
great work.
It's hard though. I've had to like hide people on my feed. Not because I don't like them, but just because it was really triggering when you're sat at home. Not so much like since having him, but I remember when I wasn't in a very good way after I had Billy, I had really bad postpartum anxiety, and I'd just be watching all these people working on Instagram, and I wouldn't have anything booked in, and it would make me feel shit. Yeah. So I just was like, I know, I'm just going to hide it so I don't see it. And that was actually a really good thing to do.
Yeah, I've since ended up getting like a work phone. So all my social media is on the work phone and it gets turned off.
Yeah.
Because I was finding it was like seeping into my like chill time with Nath. And I was just like, why am I worried about what Barbara's doing?
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're like, actually, then when you reflect on the cool stuff you've done.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, actually, like, I've done some cool cookbooks. I've done X, Y, Z.
It's like, I'm doing really good.
And then, like, it's okay to have quiet periods.
It is. It's the nature of our job.
Yeah.
My sister always says to me, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane because you're doing really good. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing.
Yeah.
What you're doing is great. So just stay in your lane. I'm like, okay.
That's good. That's good advice. But I do think, like, it's maybe just being self-employed and like having a little bit of anxiety. It kind of brings a fear into you when actually, like, you've almost got to switch that off as best you can and go like, right, okay, well, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing is good. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. And like, I don't know about you, I forget to ask for images all the time.
All the time.
And then
all the time.
Someone will send me like 10 images and I'm like, great, I've got 10 weeks worth of content.
I do. My booker all the time is saying to me, Jodie, can you please ask them for those images? And I'm like, yeah, I will. And then it never happens. Yeah. I'm like, but it is like, I do need to do that. I'll put that on the list.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's on the list somewhere. But
like, to do.
And then sometimes I send like photographers emails and I'm like, you know these images? And they're like, Charlotte, that was 4 months ago.
I know, exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, but you know, like it must be out now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing as well, because we style stuff like, we were saying we shot Christmas last year.
Yeah.
In the heat of summer.
I love it though, you know.
Do you?
I love it. Everyone always, like, kind of by the end of a big stint of Christmas in July, everyone was like, ugh, I do not want to see another bauble. But I'm just even more excited about Christmas now.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I am that, like, Grinch.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first started doing, like, interiors and stuff, my mum would be like, are you excited for Christmas? And it'd be in November. And I'd be like, no, I've done it. I've done it.
No, it just makes me more giddy for it because I love it. I love it. I love all the season and I love a bit of seasonal decor, but yeah, Christmas is big in this house. So I actually was having a chat with my husband yesterday about I want him to build me something for Christmas because he's really handy, can like do anything essentially. Yeah. And I've got a vision and he brings all my visions to life. And he was like a bit like you, he was like, hold on, it is too early to be talking about Christmas. It's July.
Yeah.
Okay. He's like, I've not even had my birthday yet. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So
Get your birthday out the way.
That's why I do love a bit of our job is because I get to do Christmas twice.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm here for that.
Yeah, that's true. I think sometimes as well the product, because I love a really tacky like 90s novelty Christmas.
Oh my god, the tackier the better.
Yeah. And if they're like, can you style this in some sort of like white winter wonderland? I'm like, well, that's boring.
Yeah, I know.
Where's the like garish green?
Where is the coloured fairy lights? Because I love me some coloured fairy lights. But they're quite fashionable now. But like a while ago they weren't. And I had them on my Christmas tree. And I got mocked by like everybody saying how awful they were. And now everyone's wanting the coloured fairy lights. So.
Yeah. I mean, I actually bought a tiny pink Christmas tree. It was only like 2 foot. And because we weren't really decorating heavily, I think it was when we were moving. And then Nath got everything out the loft of the old house, left the pink Christmas tree. I'm still fuming with him about this.
Oh my God.
It was a £6 Christmas tree.
No,
so
but
I really
it doesn't
should get
matter.
over it.
No, I don't think you should.
And he was like, oh, it's just a pink thing and I don't like it. And I was like,
Tough.
It's kind of like,
I love it.
There's the choice to be whatever colour you want, and why not be pink?
Exactly. No, I am the same, honestly. Like, I'm quite lucky. Adam is pretty chill. There's only been a few things that he has gone like, what the fuck is that? So most of the time he is like, okay. And like, we've got similar styles. Like, he likes bright colours. He likes like the vintagey vibes. He's not a fan of shit I buy from the charity shop. But, you know, I was like, this is the woman you married. So. You know. So yeah, but no, we do love a bit of Christmas, but we've got I'm going to do a Halloween tree this year.
Are you? you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm gonna find. I've got like a tree which is like which I do my Easter tree stuff on.
Yeah.
So I'm like, actually, I can make you into like a spooky tree. So we're gonna do a Halloween tree. See, I'm already like thinking.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I just want to like have a glass of red wine and a roast dinner. Do you know? I'm an autumn girly.
Yeah, yeah, same.
So like, yeah.
This muggy weather can get in the bin.
This is what I mean. I'm like, summer has been rubbish. Give me autumn.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just over this now. So let me have a glass of Merlot.
Yeah.
And I'd like to carve a pumpkin, please.
Yeah, get all those Halloween decks out.
Yeah.
So we are... Oh, hey, Trooper.
Do you want to sit on your lap? He will
Hi.
do. Honestly, he's embarrassing.
He's come to say hi, guys. On the note of your house, it's so bright and it's so lush. I walked in here and just felt happy. Like, there is so many colours. There is so much, like, vintage, like, items. I can see a chicken holding all your eggs and, like, the great butter dish and all these great items. And, like, how bold. I admire your kitchen choice because it's so bold. It's bold. So lovely.
Thank you.
And, like, I just think you've got this... I don't know, this eye for like vintage. I've got patterned wallpaper behind me. There's like wild. A vintage door. Yeah. There's like, it's just incredible. The way you've mixed like modern bits and the vintage style bits. It is so nice and it just makes me feel so happy in your house.
Thank you. That is so kind. Like literally that is what our aim was. We wanted a house that was happy and that you felt like happy in.
Yeah.
And I've always loved old things. Like even from when I was tiny, like me and my nanny would go shopping in the charity shops and I always loved all of her old things. And I remember her always like getting her jewellery, like costume jewellery, and I'd be playing with it. So I've always loved vintagey stuff. And luckily my husband does too. And we've just kind of collected it like over the years. And yeah, we just like, I mean, I think it's Marmite, you know. I think some people would walk in and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think at the end of the day, like, your house is the biggest thing that you like ever buy. It's such a big, and when people are like, oh, about the kitchen, because it's blue and like teak, people are like, oh, what about when you come to resell it? But I'm not like living in it to resell it. I'm living in it to enjoy every moment of this massive purchase that I've made. And I'm going to decorate it how we want to decorate it. And if somebody wants to buy this house, they'll buy the house regardless of some blue cupboards. Yeah. Because you can paint them or spray them. Or we've got a pink... You need to go upstairs. We've got a pink, I call it my pink vintage dream house Barbie bathroom. We've got like a pink sink and a pink toilet and pink tiles. But that can all be changed. Like you fall in love with a house because of the bones of it and how it makes you feel. So if people don't like it, they can change it. But we're living in it now. So if I want like garish 70s wallpaper, like that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm with you on it. Like we went for a coloured kitchen, but it was more neutral. So it's like olivey green on the bottom and then cream on the top.
Nice.
Because we've got like a narrower house. Mm-hmm. So we needed like light to bounce off. Mm-hmm. But the guy at the kitchen place was like, there's all these colours. And I was like, I can't make a decision because I love all colours. So like, I'd have had one cupboard in every single colour.
Like a rainbow kitchen. Yeah. That would have been cool.
So it's one of them, like you have to, I rein myself in a bit. And I said to Nathan, like, if we don't like it in 5 years, we'll just paint it.
Well, yeah,
like,
that's the thing. Everything is changeable. Like,
yeah.
And I just, honestly, my kitchen is my happy place. Like, I love cooking. I love baking in there with Billy. I just love this area. We spend all our time. It's the heart of our home, whether we're crafting, because we do a lot of that, or we're like eating and like having our friends like... My friends always laugh because I always want to... I'm like Monica. I'm not in the tidy sense, but in like, I always want to be the hostess, you know? Yeah. Got all these tiny dishes from the charity shop that I want to use all the time, you know? So, like, any excuse to whack out the bric-a-brac, I'm here for it. So, yeah, I just love it. And, I want it to reflect who we are. So that's how it is wild, though. It's bonkers, but we like it.
But in a good way. Like,
thank you.
I really love it. And me and you have a similar orange wall.
I love it, yeah.
We painted the wall up. I painted it over the ceiling.
Oh, nice.
So, like, the sofas and a kind of cocooned
Like
by the
cozy,
orange.
yeah,
because like you were
gorgeous.
open plan.
Yeah.
And then Nath came in and was like, oh, I'm not sure about the orange on the ceiling. And I was like, just you wait.
Wait.
It's been up a year. And he's like, love it.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
everybody's got their own kind of like micro culture.
Yeah.
So like with us, we've got lots of artwork that's tattoo artists.
Yeah,
or
I
like
love that.
Stuff from charity shop. We've got weird stuff.
Yeah, I've
like,
got a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a creative eye as well. You like the kind of like slightly strange stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And people come in and go like, whoa, you've got like so much like hanging on the walls.
It's nice.
But,
it's personality, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're so right as well about a house. Like you've got to make it how you feel comfortable and what makes you happy.
Literally, like you could, not to be morbid, but you could die tomorrow and you've had, you've always wanted a yellow bedroom, but you didn't paint your bedroom yellow because you're worried that it might not sell. But why then you haven't had what you wanted and you've died? Do you know? It sounds really dramatic, but live your life how you want to live it. Yeah. Like not in a cheesy way, but life is a bit too short not to do what you want to your house.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, people think that people do houses super quick, but actually it takes time. And sometimes you have to live in a house and go, okay, the light's bouncing here. So this colour would work here. And like kind of figure it out like that.
Definitely.
Rather than just being like, well, this is going to resell.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, we've been here 5 years, but this was a huge renovation. So that was a big wall here. So we've made it all open plan. And my husband's done it pretty much all himself. And down that door there is another floor, which that will be like a playroom and a bathroom, another bathroom down there. So I mean, it's a long project, but we've done it and we've enjoyed. I've enjoyed the process to a point. Renovations are pretty stressful. But I'm so glad that we did it because we've designed it exactly how we wanted it. Like we lived in it, and then we were like, right, okay, this is what we need to do to make it as beautiful as it can be. So I
think that's it. Like you've got to do it how it works for you. And if you don't live here forever,
exactly,
it doesn't matter.
Because some people hate open plan. And they're like,
I think they're crazy.
I'm like, I love the fact that I can be cooking and the kids can be playing and Adam can be, and we're all together rather than being like away from everything. So but each to their own really. But no, it is, my home is my happy place. I do love it.
So your vintage stuff, you said that you used to go charity shopping with your nan.
Yeah.
Is that where the love of charity shopping and vintage hunting came from?
100%, definitely. Like we used to go, she lived in this really cute village down south, and there was a few really nice charity shops, and whenever I used to go and stay with her in the summer holidays, that would be what we would do together. We'd go charity shopping, and then we'd go into Waitrose and we'd get a bun, and then we'd go home. It's just so nice. And now I love the fact that I do that with Billy and Rory. But I've always loved the Chazza. I love the weirdest stuff that you can find in the charity shop. Like if it's weird, I'm probably going to like it. If it's from the 70s and it's got a garish pattern on, that's mine. That is definitely where the love has come from. And I love that Billy loves going as well. And we sort all of her toys out, and she picks which ones that she wants to take back to the charity shop. So we do that together. Like she really is understanding the process of that and making everything circular, because for us, that's really important. I don't buy anything. I buy pretty much everything secondhand. To be more sustainable. So it's nice to teach her that too. And Rory when he is a little bit older.
Isn't it funny how our job is so based on consumerism, and then the more I chat to stylists, the more we're trying to be as sustainable as possible and kind of do that circular living. I was chatting to somebody the other day and they said, when was the last time you bought something new? And literally on one hand I could count in the last year what I've bought new. And it was things like walking boots,
things that you kind of need to buy first hand,
and like a rain jacket, and I can't remember even what else. Oh, maybe bras. And that was it.
That's me. I'm underwear, pajamas, shoes, and the things that I will buy like from the shops, but everything else, like because I've been doing it for a while, because I watched a documentary. This is when we worked for that company together, so it must have been about 7 years ago. I watched a documentary called The True Cost of Fashion on Netflix, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. And that from that moment, I was like, I need to be better, because my shopping habits were disgusting. I was like a Primark, a Zara, but I just felt like I didn't know. I didn't know about the garment workers. I didn't know about it. And then once I had seen it, I was like, oh my God. So, and especially what we do for a job. So I was like, right, okay, how can I make my footprint less? And that was to stop consuming fast fashion. And so, yeah, that's what I did. So the only things that I buy are like, underwear, pajamas, and then like trainers and things. Everything else is from eBay or Vinted now, or the Chazzers.
Yeah.
So, and the same for the kids too. They're the same.
Well, I do think, so my sister's got a 3-year-old and she's pregnant again, and all the stuff that she put Alfie in, she's like, that will fit the baby, so what's the point in buying you?
Exactly.
And I think a lot of her friends, you gift clothing. It seems to be quite a thing to gift clothing to people when they're pregnant, when actually there is bags of clothing that my sister and her friends are like going round.
Oh yeah.
The bags are getting slightly smaller because obviously some stuff gets stained, but they're like, here, have this your turn now, you have this, you have your... And why not?
And we love it. In our group of friends, it's so nice, because we've got really big age gaps between us. So there are some clothes that are coats that were bought 8-9 years ago that are being filtered through all of the kids, and it's so nice for their coats to be put on the newer babies and stuff. So I think it's great. And kids clothes, especially clothes for babies, because they wear them so for a little amount of time. You can definitely reuse them. Toddler clothes are harder, because their clothes do need to work a little bit harder, because they're dirty and mucky. But I mean, there's so much on Vinted now. It's so easy to shop secondhand.
I find Vinted is my vice, shall we say?
Sometimes I have to change my password to know what it is, because I am just a bit bad for that, and that's not very good, because I do overconsume in that way. I'm I actually don't need this, but I'm buying this for the sake of buying. But
I think that's the other thing, is trying not to overconsume even in the secondhand market. And then I try and if I buy 5 things, I try and put 5 things on Vinted and try and
do it that way. But definitely. I just love clothes, I just love clothes. That is the problem. I have done from being tiny, so I just always love having loads of clothes, which is not very sustainable, but it's kind of better that they are always secondhand.
I think I saw your video of your dress that you'd found, the 90s
oh
one.
My God.
I was like, oh my God, if that isn't Phoebe 90s.
It's so good,
so
wasn't
nice.
it? So nice. And I didn't need that, and I've got nowhere to wear that. But I was like, I can't leave this behind, and it was £5 now, and it fit me so perfectly. I was like, I'm going to have to take that dress home. But definitely.
You never know when you're going to wear it, though. It's a bit like a to read book list.
Exactly. It's
one
day I'll have somewhere to wear that, and I'll be so thankful that I bought that. Exactly. I loved it. It was too special. It was too special to leave, and the fact that it still had the matching scarf. It had to come home with me.
I agree. I was like, oh my God, Jodie, this looks incredible.
Thank you.
It just looks so
found
good.
Another really good piece in the charity shop the other day as well, a little cord, which I'm going to do a little video about, because that is pretty good too.
Oh.
I know. I feel like the charity gods have been smiling down on me recently. So I'm really pleased about that, because sometimes, you go for a while where you go, because we go quite often, because I think that's kind of what you have to do. And we won't find anything for a while, but we've been quite successful recently.
I think that's it. I dip in and out of the ones in Homefirth, and they're actually a little bit pricey.
They are a bit spenny,
I'm not going to slam them, but they are a little bit pricey.
I know, because people get really cross when you start saying that charity shops have got expensive. Oh, let me just let the dog out. But they have got more expensive. But I guess it's the climate, isn't it? But back in the day, they were definitely not as expensive.
And also the sometimes it's the brands. I think I've seen cider Shein and Primark priced the same price that it would be brand new from Primark. And I think, like, I'm very careful about what brands I'm buying.
Yeah, because you want them to wash, like, that's also what I think.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to stand the test of time? But what I used to love about the charity shop was that, and this might be controversial, but I used to love that you'd be able to find something in a charity shop that is worth quite a lot of money, but you'd find it like such a good deal, because really the charity shop didn't really know what they were selling. And I do think that used to be kind of like the joy of Chazza shopping, because you'd be like, oh my God, this is actually worth like £50 and I've bought it for £3. But now, because of eBay and the internet, and everybody knows how much everything is worth now, and I'm not saying that the charity shop shouldn't get what it's worth, because I know it goes to a good cause, but there is something about finding an amazing piece of treasure.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I am with you, because I think as well, where I'm from, the charity shops was like seen as it was kind of looked down on.
Yeah.
And so my thinking of charity shopping has changed, like my perspective on it has changed. But I used to love, when I first started charity shopping, maybe like a decade ago, you'd be like, oh my God, there's like, I don't know, a Zara top in there, or like there was River Island or some like, or even Burberry, or, you know, and the generally older volunteers didn't know what stuff was.
Exactly.
Whereas now they're way more savvy.
Oh my God, so savvy. So, and it's like records, like we've got a record player and we play records and we've got loads of vinyl. You used to get some great vinyls in the charity shops, like such good ones. No, that just doesn't happen anymore. Like that is just off the cards. So yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'm really pleased that they can get as much money for the charities, obviously, but that was kind of like a exciting thing, finding something that was really special for a really good price.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's been your like unicorn in the charity shop that you've managed to find? What's been like your best
I don't
thing?
know, because I've been doing it for a long time. I don't know. I found some really beautiful red vintage loafers that had like a gold buckle, and they were obviously like Italian leather, and they would have been really expensive, and I got them for like £5. So that was always one that stands out, because at the time I really loved the Gucci loafers, and I would never spend that money on them, but they were like better. And I remember thinking like skipping out of the charity shop when I found them. But generally I just love collecting bric-a-brac. That is my downfall at the charity shop. It's pots and vases and cups and bowls and things. Yeah,
I'm with you. I've like got some stuff stacked up that I'm like hiring out as props.
Yeah.
And then Nave's like, are you hiring it out, or are you just collecting it?
I know.
And
this
I'm like,
is it, isn't it?
But then I can't walk past her.
No, I can't. It's a toxic trait. I can't. I have to have it. What I want to eventually, when we go because we love this house. It's not our forever house. When we eventually do our forever house, Adam said he's going to build me like you know what they're called, larders. You know, in the kitchen where you open it up and it's just a huge cupboard with loads of shelves.
Yeah.
But instead of food in it, I'm going to have bric-a-brac in it. Yes. And that is going to be it. So all my seasonal decor. So I have all my Easter stuff, all my Halloween stuff, all my Christmas stuff, all my, just all my things like in a nice, huge, big cupboard that I can dip in and out of.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's it. That's my dream. That is the dream, yeah. So yeah, I'll let you know when it happens.
Yeah, I'll just come and like hide in it.
Yeah.
Just you'll find me in the cupboard a week later.
Honestly, it gives me so much joy.
Yeah.
Actually, a good unicorn moment was I'm collecting the Toy Story figures for Billy for her birthday from the charity and buying them all secondhand. And I found Zurg the other day. You know, the evil, his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I couldn't believe it. It was just like chilling on the shelf. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay, you're coming home with me. So that was quite a good one recently that I found.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I feel like the charity shops are so good for the kids.
Oh my God, so good. Come with me.
I bought... He's so cute.
He's very happy. Are you coming to say hi, Ruru?
I bought Alfie for his 3rd birthday. I made him like a dress-up bag.
Oh,
so
nice.
I put like loads of stuff in, and I found everything on Vinted.
Yeah.
And I don't even think I spent 30 quid.
Oh, it's so
I know,
good.
like, so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like tutus, like full on, like, was there like a builder's thing? There was like dresses, everything.
good.
And like my sister was like, this is ace, like, you know, and I didn't spend that much money, really.
'Cause there's like a crazy statistic, isn't there, about the amount of fancy dress clothes that end up in landfill. Like,
imagine.
it's disgusting. So yeah, it's so charity shop, especially like when you've got kids and it's like World Book Day and Halloween, all these things, like you end up spending money on these things. But just go to the charity shops because they are absolutely full of fancy dress for kids.
Yeah.
And they always bring it out around the times, you know, of like Halloween and stuff. So it's definitely where you need to be going for your outfits.
Yeah, and I think people are doing like big bundles on Vinted and stuff as well, especially for the kids stuff. You are so gorgeous.
He is cute.
Yes,
isn't
look
he?
at that little smile.
He is a cutie.
Oh my days. Oh my days. So something else I wanted to chat to you about is your Instagram and your TikTok.
Oh my
because I know you've like started to
Trying. God, it's hard, isn't it? Like I just feel I'm lucky because I like making videos, so it's not a chore. But I am trying to grow it, I guess. Like just a little, it's just like a little corner of our world, really. Like bringing a bit of joy, like because I've got the babies and Trooper and just us like doing like crafting and like mum life essentially. But I do it because I love it. But if you were actually looking to grow an Instagram account, I mean, how do you do that? Because I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. I think like I've got one for podcast, one for a personal one, and then a work one. And the work one and the podcast one I'm quite consistent on. And I think that's literally, you've just got to be consistent.
So I post like about 3 times a week, I think. And like I said, luckily I don't stress. I enjoy making the videos. So Billy loves looking back on the videos. Like
does she?
She loves it. So actually, it's really nice that she can look back on these videos of us together. Yeah. But I am trying to grow it. So yeah.
It's nice because you're, like you say, you're doing the little crafty ones. I saw the little video of her telling the rain to go away. I was like, this is so cute.
That was literally so good, wasn't it? Because I just feel it's been the wettest summer ever. So she was like, and she loves that song. To be fair, she's either singing that or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Is she? Definitely your kid singing a Christmas song.
Well, that's why we call Rory Roo, because she was telling everybody his name was Rudolph. I'm not even joking. And with such conviction as well.
Amazing.
I know.
Amazing.
So I was like, right, we're going to have to come up with a compromise here. His name isn't Rudolph. Should we call him? And then so Roo was kind of just formed. So yeah, that's why he's called Rory Roo.
That's so funny.
I know.
It's like toddlers are hilarious when it comes to like babies, because like my sister's little boy said to her when she told him she was pregnant, he went, well, it's going to be a boy. And she was like, well, we don't know.
Might not be.
We might not be. And he was like, no, folded his arms like, no, it's going to be a boy.
They are so funny.
And just like, he's like so adamant. And then we were like coming up with names for the baby, and I was like, you know, being silly, like, oh, pink flower baby. And he was like, no, like, and his conviction is like, this is going to be a boy. You could tell me it's a girl till you're blue in the face, and it's going to be a boy.
I really hope it's a boy then. He's going to be a bit disappointed.
Either way, I think he'll love it, but it's, again, that's a different challenge, isn't it, to having a newborn without another kid. It's like then having that dynamic as well.
It's hard. I heard something on Instagram the other day. Your first baby gets your time, your second baby gets your experience. And that really resonated with me, because it's so true. Like, with your first baby, you have so much time with them, and like everything, you celebrate everything because you've got the time to. But obviously your second baby, like, you're kind of split in two. Yeah. But like, I am such more of a confident mum second time round, like, and he benefits from that because I'm not double guessing my decisions. I'm not comparing milestones, because I'm like, well, I've kept one kid alive and she is all right, so I've got it for this one. Do you know what I mean? So it is 2 kids is do you know what? I found the adjustment 0 to 1 harder than I have done 1 to 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I don't know, he's kind of just slotted into life, really.
Yeah. And I think second babies tend to they have to.
I think they have to. Like, she rules the roost. So he just has to go along with it, essentially. And luckily, so far, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so cute.
Yeah, he is pretty dreamy. We like him.
Bless him. So I also know that you're an avid reader, and sometimes I screenshot your stories and I'm like, I need to read that book.
Oh my
I've got
God,
so
yes.
many on there.
Yes.
What's your current read?
So I've just finished a book called Joan, which is a historical fiction on Joan of Arc.
Ooh.
I was actually thinking you'll like this book. So basically, it is fiction, but it's a really well-researched historical fiction book. So, you know, names and dates, battles, etc. will be accurate. But obviously the story is fiction. And I loved it. I'm a bit of a geek. Like, I'm a history girl. Like, I love geeky historical things.
Yeah.
So that's what I've just finished. But I listen to a book and I read a book at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So,
2 different ones?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
so that's what I do. So that's the book I've just finished listening to, and I'm also currently reading The Women, which is just there, which is based in the Vietnamese War.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, proper history stuff.
Historical fiction is probably my favourite genre, but I read everything. I have done since I was a kid. Like, I love it. It's like the thing that brings me like a lot of joy.
Yeah, I feel like you can escape into it.
100%. Yeah, it's like me time. Like, and I love recommending books to people. Like, I love giving somebody a 5-star read, because when you come across a book and you read it and it was a 5-star read, it sits with you forever and you think about it, and it's such a nice present to give somebody.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love recommending books.
Oh, that's so good. I love it as well. Like, I've only just got back into reading maybe 18 months ago. And I used to read a lot as a kid. Yeah. And like, we're of the Harry Potter generation and, you know, that kind of like those intense kind of series. And I've just got into a fantasy novel. Yeah. And it was like a lot of murder, a lot of brutal, then a lot of dragons and kind of like fairy tale bits. And like...
What was it called?
When the Moon Hatched.
Oh no, I have not read that one.
It's 600 pages, Jodie.
Whoa, that is a long one.
And I know it was good because I read it in a week.
Okay, yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those...
Takes over your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Nath was like, what are you doing? And I was literally like nosing my Kindle for like ages, hours and hours and hours. Yeah. And I feel like those kind of books just give you... Like, that's the first of a series and the others aren't released, and I'm like itching to...
that is the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love it. Adam will always know when I'm really into my book, because it will be everywhere. Like, it will be like that, I'm really into that one, so that's that. You know, like, he'll find it like in the bathroom, or he'll find it because I'm literally like, any minute I have got, I am trying to read it. So but I also love listening to a book as well, though. Like, my Audible subscription is probably my best spent money. I love it.
Nath has Audible as well for
so good. Like, all car journeys without any children.
Yeah,
it's on. Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it, how like we're now listening to books or long form stuff like podcasts and stuff rather than the radio. Like, my mum and dad would have listened to the radio.
Yeah, I would never listen to the radio.
No,
would you?
No, not now.
I like a podcast as well, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just love like consuming anything, like content. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I love a book. I love a podcast. I love it's hard, isn't it, trying to find the time? That's the other thing.
Yeah. And I think as well, with us being like in between an hour from Leeds or Manchester, you get an hour onto work to listen to a podcast.
The other day, I put into my sat nav, and it should have taken me like 50 minutes to get to work, and it said an hour and 30 because there'd been a traffic accident on the M62, and I was like, oh my God. That's a lot of good reading time. Yeah. So I just listened to my book, and it was nice.
Yeah, it's nice having that like break. Yeah. I've got one last question for you.
Yeah.
Hi, Rory. Oh, he's so cute.
Oh, he's cute, but he's getting fussy.
Oh,
darling. I haven't got any. Have someone seen anyone missed him?
Oh, bless him. My last question for you, Jodie, is what inspires you?
Oh my gosh. Just a little question.
Just a teeny one. on there.
What inspires me? As in what? As for just in general?
Yeah, you can answer it however you see fit, because I've had people answer it in like a life kind of manner or in a work manner, or what inspires them creatively. So whatever inspires you.
Do you know what? I'm so inspired by the people in my life. I've got an incredible foundation of people that I feel so grateful to have. I've got an amazing parents, an incredible brother and sister, amazing in-laws, friends, and I've got like people that I see doing incredible things all the time that make me feel like I'm capable of doing them incredible things too. So yeah, so I would say it's definitely inspired by the people I feel lucky enough to know and to allow me to kind of believe in myself that I am worth it and that I'm, doing what I'm doing. So yeah, if you're going to put me on the spot, but I think, yeah, it's definitely, and like, I'm my husband and yeah, I'm so lucky. So I'm definitely inspired by the people in my life.
That has just made my eyes well up, because that's like lovely. Like, it's so nice that you've got that connection with all your friends and your family, like they're all impacting your life in such a beautiful way.
In such a beautiful way. Like, I've got friends who are proper boss women who do incredible big corporate jobs where I think, God, that is amazing. Like my mum and my mother-in-law, like, yeah. Everyone, I just feel so lucky, and they're the people. That's probably my biggest inspiration.
Yeah, I love that answer.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank
you
you
for letting me come and record in your house, and for
my
meeting
pleasure.
2 of the 3 children.
2 of the 3 babies. You have to meet Big Sissy, and we'll have to go for another catch up.
Yes, for sure.
Without the mics.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please rate, follow and share, as it really helps this little podcast out. And if you have found value in the podcast and you have the means to, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes. This will help keep the podcast going. Join me next week for another fantastic guest. Bye!